In German.
Did it talk to you in German?
Yes.
Oh, that's funny. Mine was in English.
So Per Anders has done the whole bit before the korvai. I didn't bother with that. So that's
Oh, okay, right. So looking at Per Anders, so we have here Chatushra ta ka ti mi ta ka jo nu ta ki ta. Okay, so that's first beat, and then taka ti mi taka jo nu ta ki ta taka ti mi taka jo nu ta ki ta. Second speed, Chatushra. And then Tishra, of course, 3 times. Takadimi takajono takita, takadimi takajono takita, and then takadimi takajono takita. And then we have Chatusha third speed, right? So when it's 4 times as fast, we call that third speed. Takadimi takajono takita, takadimi takajono takita, takadimi takajono takita, takadimi takajono takita. And then we go into kanda, so it's the same thing. 5 times, and then the beats fall where they fall, and the same thing, Tishra squared. I like that.
I don't know if that's the right thing. I thought Tishra second speed. I wrote it like this. Yeah,
it works. Looks great. Yeah, why not? I don't know. We can ask BC when he shows up. Okay. So then, so then we get to the. Okay, so then we can compare the two. So we have, okay, and Dave, you wrote this as quadruplets. Ding, ding, dang, kita ding, ti, dang, kita ding, ta, ding, ta, di, ki, na, tom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very much guessing the syllables in the fast bit, obviously.
Kita dikutari kita taka. That's how I would write it. That's how I wrote it too. And then Per Anders.
Yeah, I listened to the 100% speed, so I can't be sure of the fast syllables. I didn't slow it down, so not sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Let's. We can look at that. I also kind of guessed with some of the later ones, but I know that this is a really common one, which BC taught me years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's I tell you what. Okay, so you guys have exactly the same. Why don't I get out my version, and then where is that? Did I put it in the IRC? Golly, maybe it's excuse me one second. I just need to figure this out. Okay, wait. Let me go to Google Drive, music, compositions, IRC. Oh no, I hope I have the right version here. Oh, this should be it. Yeah. Okay, so just to share my screen, here's how I notated the first part. So you can see this, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So here's the first speed, of course. Here's the second speed. Taka, dimi, taka, jonu, takita. So what I did is I did the beaming according to the phrases. So this is going to be the theme that we're going to be talking about in the difference between the Indian and the Western, or the way that the way that this stuff can be notated in the Western. So, and of course here it's 2 times, and then here we have the 3 times. Taka dimi taka jono takita, taka dimi taka jono takita, taka dimi taka jono takita dim. And so I wrote the syllables under, and so you can see here these are triplets, right? So that's the Tishra, and here are the groups of 4: takadimi, takojonu, takita, takadimi, takojono, takita, takadimi, takojono, takita. So then you see, what I like about this method is you see the beaming, so that shows the phrase of the music, and the brackets on top show you where the beats fall. Takadimi, takajonu, takita. Although you don't sing it like that, it's takadimi, takajono, takita, ta, right? So you phrase the music according to the phrase, and the beat falls where it falls. And so here we have third speed, Chaturashra, takadimi, takajono, takita, and then normally this would, the beat falls here. So I could have also put 4s on top to show where the beats are, but I don't think it's necessary in Chaturashra. And then here we have Kanda, quintuplets, and then you can see 4 4 3. That's the phrase 4 4 3 4 4 3 4 4 3 4 4. So 5 times. Same thing 6 times. Okay. So then here's the di dan ki du ta di di ta di ki na tom. So this is how I notated it in Chaturashra, right? So then, so you see where the beats are because of the brackets, just like in your guys' versions. Di ta dim ta di ki ta di ki na tom. So, I mean, what's really nice about the Indian method is it just shows you where the beats are and it shows you the phrase. So it's also really clean in the Indian version. So then we go into Kanda, which is quintuplets. Di dan kiti dukatari kita. So it's the same phrase. Di dan kiti dukatari kita dim ta di ki na tom. Okay, so that we know it's the same phrase, but we know that it's in Kanda, quintuplet, so it's gonna have a different thing going on. So let's see here. Di dankita tiku tari. So then wait a second here. 1 second. Di dankita tiku. Oh yeah. Di dankita taka tari kita taka. Okay, right. So then we have another 1 2 3 4 5. Right. So these are 30-second notes.
So I'm not sure we're looking at the same thing. There seems to be on my screen the arrow that is not pointing to where you are.
Yeah,
Really?
you're pointing out the sextuplets now.
Yeah. I think maybe the line that you're talking about is the next line down, line 8. Is that bar 8?
Do you see me? Do you see me highlighted one?
No. No, something's gone wrong with the sharing thing.
Okay, let's try it again. Good that you tell me that. And I can't see you guys, so if you want to tell me something, just talk like you did.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's better. See, the problem is I can't. All right. Okay. Do you see? Am I now pointing at the quintuplets?
Oh yeah. Now you're on Per Andres's thing. Before you were on your sheet music. So I think maybe that was the thing.
Oh, maybe it didn't switch.
Yeah.
Ah, okay, okay. So now we know. All right. So so then what we see is that you have this phrase, but now it's in, it's normally 1, 2, 3, 4, but now we're in kanda, right? It's quintuplets. So now you have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then 5. So this is the logic of how you start transcribing this. You say, okay, it's the same phrase. You can hear that. Although I listened to this a bunch to really make sure it was the same phrase. And then we have this dim ta di gi na ton. But this dim ta dim is now been changed to quintuplets. So, and basically what he's done is he's added, right? So 1D becomes 2 notes, 1 ta becomes 2 of ta, and then dim 2 becomes 3. So he's adding 1/16 to each of the notes.
Yeah, on my one, I've got the numbers there, so you can see it goes 8, 4, 3, 2, 3, as opposed to 8, 2,
2,
3,
3,
1.
1, 2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So it starts from 2 going up in the dim. Where's the dim?
Dim ta dim.
Yeah, so the dim tut dim
Ta,
is the 3, 2, 3, isn't it? Oh, have I got that? Have I done that wrong?
Ki, na, tom. No, it looks like you have
Oh yeah,
exactly the
dim
same.
tut. Instead of dim tut dim, it's dim tut dim. Yeah. So instead of 1.
Yeah. So di
I've written
dan
it
kita
wrong.
tuku di dan kita tiku tari kita taka dim ta dim ki na tom. Tati kita di dan kita tiku tari kita taka dim ta. Sorry. Di dan kita tiku tari kita taka dim ta ki na tom. So, but this is the way I did it, and likely you guys too. Is you say, okay, it's the same phrase, and I think I checked out that the gi was on the beat. So then it became a question of like, okay, how does this work? Ta dim, and then the ta di gi. Well, yeah. Also, you see that this ta is on the beat. And so then that helps you figure out where the beat is here. Because if this is all too fast to figure out where the beat is, then you say, okay, the ta is there. And then you start counting backwards. Right?
Yes.
So then
Okay.
the same thing, okay, let me just check yours, Dave. Dan kitu tiku tari taka dim ta dink ta dink ki na 4 5 tone 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, so it's exactly the same. And then sextuplets di dan kitu tiku tari kita taka. So then again the beat shifts now. Dink ta. Okay, so now we've added another note. So we've gone from dim ta dim 1 1 2 to 2 2 3, and then 3 3. Well, now you have also 3. So let's see, what is dim ta dim. Okay, so then that becomes, that pattern doesn't seem to go on. It's not just adding 1 every time.
Exactly.
Right?
And sorry, I remember that BC said, if I'm not mistaken, that after the first thing, when he goes through the different subdivisions systematically and ends up in this thing prior to the korvai, he says that was an improvisation. So I thought maybe this isn't, mathematically correct. That's why I didn't think so much about the structure of every phrase getting longer and longer and something like this.
But I think
Okay.
it works with the numbers in they all have 7 beats. So each of the.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
We don't
definitely.
see the text
You're right.
anymore, Ned.
Okay, 1 second. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Do you see them now?
Yeah.
Okay. You see
Yeah.
my cursor?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect. Yeah. So I think he adds one dot after everything from dim onwards, from the first dim onwards.
Okay, right. So
Every syllable each time.
so here, yeah. So from the tadi. Oh, okay. So this you're saying Per Anders said the dim tadim was like an improvisation.
As I understood it, I might be wrong, but this specific part, those three
Impressive
lines,
improvisation.
as some kind of improvisation, or
Okay, well, there's still a lot of
he
structure
mentioned
here.
improvisation. Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to ask him. So the ta. So here's one ta. Here's the ta of 2 and ta of 3. 2D, 3D, 4D, 3G, 4G, 5G. So this is getting one longer each time, and as it goes down, it also gets one longer each time. And then, so it's getting longer, but it's also within a faster tuplet. So T's for second speed or sextuplets. So it's the combination of adding notes and doing it in a faster speed still has it come out. So you look at Dave, you have 7 beats. See, I didn't do that analysis. So each phrase is 7 beats. So we have the same thing fitting into 7. The only thing that doesn't seem to match systematically is this dim.
I think that was yeah. I think that's a mistake. Oh no, you're right. It's not. It works out.
Per Anders has the same.
Yeah.
Here, this dim to this dim.
Oh
So
yeah, I didn't notice that.
let's take a look at what I have. Okay, here's the one dim. Are you seeing my finale file?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. So there's the dim, and then here the dim becomes 2, and then sextuplets. Wait a second. It's 3. Oh wait, no wait, we're talking about the wrong one. We're talking about dim ta dim. Wait a second here. Excuse me. Dim ta, we're talking about the dim ta dim. Here it's 2. No, it's 3. Here it's 3. Here it's 3. No. I get it. Right. The dim is always 3. See that? And the dim ta is 1 1, 2 2, and then 3 3.
So I just realised that's the 3 in my row of numbers.
This 3. Yeah.
Yes.
It's always 3. Okay, I see.
So the number before, the dim ta, that changes 2 4 6 from going down the lines. But the dim, that's like the gap. So that stays the same.
Yes. So right. So here's the 2,
Correct.
becomes 4, becomes 6. That's the 2 notes, which you add 1, they become 4, and then add 2, and they become 3 each, adding up to 6. Okay. So everybody clear on that?
Yeah.
Okay. Then let's look at the next phrase. Quintuplets. Yeah. Ta ti ki na tom. So that's a repeat, actually.
Yes.
Of this one.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going back down through the tuplets, doing a little tail to start.
Right.
I think. I mean, it's arguable where the B starts.
No, I think I totally agree with you, Dave. So he's done this tadi ki na tom in sixteenths, and then he does it in quintuplets, and then he does it in sextuplets, and then he goes back to quintuplets, and then back to sixteenths. Tadi ki na tom. So that's the pattern, right? And then we get this tatika kadadum, tatika kadadum, tatika kadadum, tatika kadadum. Yeah. So let me just take a look at pair unders. So now we're here. Oh no, it starts here, right?
Yeah, I didn't see that thing that Dave mentioned, so maybe there's a mistake there in my transcription. Not sure yet.
Okay, so like for example, if you look at mine, okay, here it is. Let's see here. Here it is in 16ths. Tadim ti na tom. And then here it is in quintuplets. How does that work? And then, so here it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 length. And here it's 2, 3. Sorry, it starts here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 length. And then it goes to sextuplets, which goes 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in length. Yeah? Okay. And then we go backwards. So here it is in quintuplets, which is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then back to 16ths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This didn't come out right. And then so what I've done in my notation is I've shown where the beats are based on the beams. So in this case, I beam according to the beat and not according to the phrase, actually. Please.
So I think you did the right thing.
To beam it like this. Yeah, I tried beaming it according to the phrase and it just got to, the only thing is here, I do beam it according to the phrase. Tatin takadum, tatin, tatin takadum, tatin takadum, tatin takadum, tatin takadum, tatin takadum, tatin. So because the phrase is so clear and because it's in 16ths, this is the way I like to phrase it. And you can't see it here because I have to correct this. But this little triangle here and here and here, I want to put them bigger at the top, and then that just shows where the beats are, just as a sort of aid. So in a way, I've mixed two different styles of notation through here, and it's a little bit inconsequent, but I felt like it was the best choice for each section. Okay, so let's go on, and then I can talk a little bit more about the way I notated it and why. But okay, here's the tati takadum, tati takadum, tati takadum. Yeah. So first it's in 16ths. And then yeah, so this is some ending phrase. I don't know how to well, you have it down here as part B. What did you write here? Pair unders. Oh yeah, here it is. Tatika kadadum, tatita kadadum, takita kadadum. Right, and then the gap is in between the two, but not after the third one. Is everybody following this? Is anybody following this? Okay, so we're just sort of slowly tearing this apart, but I think after having gone through it like this, you guys will then be able to go through and make your own transcription. So we could do it like that I don't post these and you still do it yourself. But once you see how the answer works, you can you can figure it out. So it's a little bit of a logic, and it's a great ear training listening thing. Okay, so let's.
The bit that I find it hardest is just every time it changes tuplet, it does some really weird rhythm on that really doesn't, it makes you not feel the change in tuplet. There's quite a few times when I was convinced it was in 5s and it was actually in 6s, and it was only by like writing it down and working out that it didn't fit that I then worked out what it actually was.
Exactly.
Just go through it and just,
because the combination of the making the phrase longer inside a tuplet, which gets faster, it keeps the same length, but it changes where the notes lie and the way they fall according to the beat. And so you're like, that's the same number of notes and the same number of beats, but they sound differently. So then, like, what's up with that? And then once you say, oh, it's in sextuplets plus adding one, and then all of a sudden the notes that fall on the beat are, you know, it totally makes sense math. So that's why it's a little bit of a puzzle to crack.
But the sections of the B in the different tuplets, they don't add up to the same amount. There's a little bit of borrowing and paying back. Like they're all 7 beats in the A, but in the B, there's like more jiggering around.
Okay.
So it makes it harder.
Let's see. Tatiki na tom. Right. Let's see. 1 second here. It's so funny. Once I start reading your version, I look at mine and I think, God, it's so complicated. And when I made my version, I thought, oh, this is so easy for me to read. So it's a funny way you start to, you know, it's like translating between 2 languages. It's easier to think in one language or think in another language, but to go back and forth of them is tricky.
Right.
But the thing, the obvious advantage for doing it in Western notation is you can hand it to another musician, and they'll, you know, if you put notes on it, they'll be able to figure it out. Whereas the Indian notation, you know, you have to know how to read that. Okay, so then let me just go back to your guys. So then we have this. Okay, so we have this B part. You've got a repeat of the stadi gi na tom in 16ths. So this thing of like it getting first it starts in 4, and then it goes into 5, and then it goes into 6, and then it goes back to 5, and then Dave, you started your then it goes back to 4, and you started that as part of the B.
Yeah, because of the way the layout of the B works with that in it. So that was a sort of edit that I made later on.
Okay, because here you have ta di gi na tom, and then here we have ta ta di di gi gi na tom tom, and then here you have ta 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 di 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 gi 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 na tom tom tom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and how did you deal with that, Per Anders?
Yeah, the start of the korvai, you see, I marked it out in red. You see the end of a line there. That was confusing for me because I thought, well, it should start on a new well, quadruplet, 16th notes. Yeah, no, 16th note subdivision. But I heard it start as some kind of triplet, and I thought, well, maybe the first tadi of the first tadi natum is still in Tishra, and then from na. And then when looking, when listening back, trying to feel the groove of those 2 subdivisions in one phrase, it worked out. But that raised questions. Yeah, that raised questions like, is that allowed, so to say, or so that was one of my questions for BC. Where is it allowed to change tuplet? But
so you thought that the beginning of the phrase here in red was still in sextuplets.
Yeah.
I think you might have missed one ta diginaton, because there's one in fives. There's one in quintuplets before there's the one in quadruplets. So I think that might be where.
Oh, that's right. So
because he repeats, there's a lot of repeats. I kept missing bits as well and going back and realizing, yeah. So
you're missing this phrase. Is that right? Is that the one?
I think
4, 5, 6. Right. And then you go back to 4. Yeah, indeed. Per Anders, you're missing one. You're missing this phrase here. You see where my cursor is?
Yeah.
Okay. So you see how it goes? Tadiginaton in sixteenths, and then quintuplets, and then sextuplets, and then he goes back to quintuplets, and then to quadruplets, to 16th notes. So here you have the 16th notes, and here are the quintuplets, and here are the sextuplets. So this is where the quintuplet version appears before the groups of the 16th notes. So you can go back and check that.
So he has got it. Okay. Actually, no, I think he has got it there.
Oh, it is here.
Sorry, it was my bad. He's got it there.
Yeah, the phrase is there, but maybe I'm confused about the subdivision.
It's in the wrong couplet, yeah.
Right, it's the correct number of beats. It's the wrong subdivision. Yeah, wrong tuplet. Yeah. Right, and the other thing, Per Anders, which doesn't make sense, is that here your ta and your d goes from 2 to, what is that, 5?
Yeah, and that was a very long shot. That's why I wrote at the end of the thing, of my paper, that what I marked out in red, as this is Tishra, could it be seen as like the first speed of Tishra? But that's really thinking outside the box.
Oh, yeah. And it is it's this phrase. Yeah, I'm trying to think, how did I know that was quintuplets? Because that would be that's no. Here's sextuplets. It's this one starting here. You know what? I think I did the math, or it sounded like quintuplets, and then the one, I also thought this one was quintuplets, and for a while I was trying to get this one, which is the 1 and 4, which is here. I was also thinking that was quintuplets, and then I figured, oh, wait a second, it goes 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, and then I said, oh, maybe that's in 16th notes. And then I wrote it out, and then I listened to it. I was like, oh yeah, he's going ta di ki na tom, really clearly 16ths. So, but what's funny is that if you think it's in quintuplets, you can also hear it in quintuplets, right? So
you're right. The end of that phrase we were talking about really sounded like 16th notes to me. So that was a confusing thing. And the start, but once you set your mind on that thing, you sort of want to hear it. Yeah,
you can hear it however you want to hear it, and then so was this. We all had the same experience of balancing the math and the logic of korvai with what we're hearing, and then you have these discoveries of logic, and like, oh, it goes 4, 5, 6, 5, 4. Oh, that's so cool, right? So that's the beauty of these Carnatic structures, which we all love so much. Okay, so so then we have this phrase, tati ki na tom, and then tati ta karadom, tati ta karadom, tati ta karadom. And then we have the phrase again in quintuple. Then we have this doubling thing. So where we get
we're not seeing the page now.
Thank you for telling me. So right, so here was the, so now we have this tadiginatom plus a sort of secondary phrase, and then we have the tata di di gi gi na tom tom, and then a doubling of the secondary phrase. Tati tadigidatom tati tat tat tati tadigidatom tati, oh yeah, tati tadigidatom tati tadigidatom tati tadigidatom ta, yeah. And then we have 3 times ta 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 ti 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 gi 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 na tom tom tom, and then 3 times ta ti tagadam ta ti tagadam ta ti tagadam ta, oh wait, ta ti tagadam 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 ta and then we have this ending, right? So then he flips it around for the end. Okay, so let's see what you have here, pair unders. Who did we just get? Did BC show up? I didn't see who's here.
He did.
Okay.
Hey,
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah, alive?
You have a voice.
No, I can speak, but I have a, like when I speak, it hurts.
You better stay quiet.
It's okay. Tomorrow I don't speak.
What if you whisper?
That's worse.
Oh.
Whispering
Well,
is very bad.
we are tearing apart your korvai. Can you see? Let me just share it again. Can you see the notation here, BC?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's weird. So here's Dave's. Why don't you check it? Excuse me 1 second. I have to plug my computer in. That's not working.
Yeah. Scroll up, please.
Second.
Until there, it's fine. Sextuplets. Super. To the T. Awesome.
Yay, I cheated though. I did it at half speed.
Okay, but
Is that
still
cheating?
you did it. Yeah.
Why is that
no,
cheating?
It's not cheating.
Well, you guys did it at full speed.
Most of us didn't do it. Most of us didn't do it, Dave, because we couldn't.
Very good. And did you also understand the logic behind this, or just like you read by listening to it?
I kind of inferred the logic kind of well afterwards, or after I'd done some of it. Like I wasn't quite sure about, you know, the tail business, but I wrote it how I thought you were thinking of it. Which
Now,
was
if this kind of like gives you more ideas of composing other kinds of korvais would be awesome, because this one is like it's going up and coming down and going up. So we haven't discussed this kind of korvai actually, right?
actually, whilst we're talking about that, I had a related question. It's about the korvai, the Kanda Chapel one that you did 2 weeks ago, where you did the expansions of it. And there was some that you did in quintup, which you notated as though it was in quintuplets. And it meant that it didn't come out to, it doesn't stay 5 beat, like the total length is no longer a multiple of 5 beats. So I was wondering, was it just an example of how to expand, or would you do that in a korvai? Would you have, or do you sometimes when you change tuplet, do you also change tala, or if you always make it work out?
Actually like whatever fits in the multiple of 5 cycle in the 16ths or in Aditala, or let us say up cycles, then it fits for quintuplets in Aditala. Right? Am I with you? If it fits in 8 cycles for Khanda Chapu,
Oh, you Aditala.
Yeah. Let us say if it fits in 6 cycles of Khanda Chapu, then it fits in some rhythmic cycle which is like 3 or 6 in quintuplets.
So, but it would be a separate composition. You wouldn't change tala in the middle of a.
No, tala changing is either you do the tala change as one big cycle of many talas and then you keep repeating that, or the tala change happens and then it just stays from there. There are a lot of compositions which has the middle, but that's not very often. Those things are called as special compositions, but it's not something that you do it as a like a standard composition.
Okay.
Especially not in korvai. It can be as a melodic composition. I haven't seen anything in korvai like that.
So it's quite clever the way that you really had to work out the numbers to make sure that you could do all these tuplet changes within this 11 beat. How do you do
it's
that?
not, I didn't do it for 11 beats. I just did it for a whole beat and then found out how many beats it was totally and then fitted that in 11. Ha ha, cheating. Ha ha.
Oh, first you wrote the korvai and then you realized it fits in 11.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I can make it for 11, but this kind of korvai, it needs even more. Like there is one korvai which I did in all 5 tuplets, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can show that to you guys today. And then that I actually broke my head to make it to fit in Aditala.
Okay, would you like to see Per Anders version?
Yeah, I mean like the script that I received, it was all like on top of each other. So it was all like jumbled. So I couldn't really see it properly. So I would love to see it.
Okay. It's this one. Wait a second. Is this it? This is it. Yeah, I see. Right.
I'll just start seeing from the korvai part, because I'm sure the upper part would be absolutely fine.
I see that I did at least in my thinking, I did a mistake when understanding that the korvai starts, but at least the beats are there.
Starting here.
Yes, I'm starting from there.
Yeah.
Okay. The red one over there, from there starts quintuplets.
Yeah, I've understood that. No, yes.
Mm. Again, the green one next to that, somehow you have notated that in 16th kind of feel, right?
I know. So if I take that complete phrase and put it in quintuplets, it should add up correctly, as I understand it.
To be honest with you, the reason you have made a mistake over there is because that's where I have made a mistake. That's the place. That's what I was asking everyone to find out where, because if you see the quantization of that part, it's not exact. It's really bad. And then my error became your error. I'm so sorry about that, because I'm sure you were listening to it and then you were transcribing. You did not want to really think about what was there. For example, what Dave did probably was like he was guessing that it was quintuplets there. But
I
now,
think I did quite a lot of guessing.
but you, Per Anders, you just transcribed my mistake. That's all.
Because it really sounded like the first kadi was in I would say Tishra first speed, so ordinary triplets, and then the rest of the phrase Hiknatum sounded like 16th note.
Because the challenge I put for myself when I composed this was I wanted to do it in one go without making any takes. So I did it just in one take. So when there was a mistake, I thought like, okay, nobody will realize that. And then I just went.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like the rest of the things are absolutely fine.
Okay. Okay, so then, for example, if let's just, I started to talk about what I did in the Western notation. So, and when we put it in Western notation, of course, it's, in some ways it gets a lot more complicated, a lot more complex, because you have all these lines and stuff, and so, but that, of course, we can do all kinds of things, like we can add pitches, and there's all kinds of notations that we could easily fit into this that would be a little more difficult in the Carnatic system. Anyway, for Western musicians, this is what we read. So what I, just to tell you a little bit about the things I was kind of thinking about. So like, first of all, we have 11/4, and this could be like a 22/8 bar, right? Because it's 22/8 notes. It's just double speed. And then when we have the 3 times bar, so this could also be notated as a 33/12 bar. And this is, I don't know if anybody's into like irrational meters, but an eighth note triplet is actually a 12th note. And then and going on, this could be 44/16, right?
Ned,
And then
I
yes.
have one technical question to ask about this.
Yeah.
It's a very, very basic question for people who have studied Western music, but I still have to understand this. When you call something is a 16th note, that means, is it the 16th portion of a bar?
Yes. Yeah.
So why do you still call it a 16th note on an 11/4?
Because that's a really good question. That's a really good question.
Yeah.
the essence comes down to the divisions of a whole bar, a whole note. And so if we take a whole note, you divide it into 16, that's how we know what a 16th note is. And then then we say, okay, 4/16 in one beat, and then we can use different number of beats in a bar, and then it's no longer based on a whole note. But the whole note serves as the basic reference for these irrational time signatures, like a 12 bar, like a 5/12 bar, or we could say a 12/12 bar, which would be a 12/8 bar, basically, in triplet speed. And but once the only thing that's interesting about the irrational meters is that you can then do irregular lengths. So let's say you want to do a beat which only lasts for 4 quintuplets. So and then our notation system say, okay, fine. Or let's say you want to do, let's say we go into triplets. We're doing quarter notes, ta, 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 and we want to do 5 triplets, ta, 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 ti, and then that would be your next beat. Ta, ki, ta, ton, ta, ka, ti, then this, with the irrational meter technique, you could do you can do those things, which are not done very often in music, but it's made possible by this. And it's a little bit of a undiscovered country. Some contemporary composers have done this. The theory goes back 100 years to Henry Cowell, but there are people like Thomas Adis, really famous British composer, who uses irrational meters in some of his music. And so, and he makes wonderful stuff with it. So it's definitely possible. So what I was thinking about, let's see here, if I go, I started to
Okay, one minute.
Please.
So are you saying that one whole note is always 4 beats, 4 quarter notes? One whole note is always 4 quarter notes?
Yeah.
I think I read once there's a diatribe about this, because actually when we say like 1/16 or 1/8, there were some people who were telling that actually we don't think it as a fraction. Because of this, you have lots of bars which are like 4/4. There's not a fraction line. It doesn't mean 4/4 it's 1, but actually it's just, we got the word for the subdivision. Because of this, we can say 1/16 or 4/16. Like a 16th remains a 16th also if we like a bar in 11 or whatever.
Yeah, it's not about the bar. It's about the value of the notes. So 1/16 is because it's just a convention. We, as Ned said, and you also BC said, we have one whole note as a convention. It's at a certain point in history, they call a whole note because there were other notes larger in value than the whole note, but in the classical notation, it's not so used so much. So we have the whole note, and every whole note, it's 2 half notes, 4 quarter notes, 8, like this. So it's not about the bar. It's about this parameter, which is conventional.
Sorry for my stupid question.
No, it's not stupid. It's very,
very good.
Very brilliant, because this is it can be a link between the Indian notation and the Western notation. So it's not stupid as nothing stupid. No, opposite.
In the UK, we still haven't reached that point in history where we don't say quarter note, whole note, half note, any of those things.
No,
we have other words for those words.
When I studied classical piano, and we didn't call these quarter note. We did it with names: semi-breve, breve, minima, semi-minima, chroma, semi-chroma, semi-bischroma. This is the notation. So it's not about the value. It's every note has a name.
Per Anders?
Thank you.
I remember that we discussed a related question to this when talking about how we name triplets, quintuplets, sextuplets, and so on. Like for instance, this piece we have deciphered from BC. we talk about sixteenths, and then we talk about quintuplets, sextuplets. Why wouldn't we talk about quadruplets, quintuplets, and sextuplets? I would say this is because of how the notational system is done in our in Western style. Talking about 16th notes and then quintuplets and sextuplets in Carnatic writing, that would be quite strange. Why do you say a specific number when you want 4 beats? And why do you say another kind of terminology when you want 5 or 6 or 7 beats? This is something I think about sometimes. I mean, maybe for people who are not so good at reading music, the Western style would find it strange that sometimes we say a specific note value, and sometimes we just give this specific triplet, quintuplet, and so on name.
Yeah. Also because we can move up and down levels. So you can say, you know, the pulse is a 16th note. And then, you know, but in India, the pulse is the pulse, and you divide it into 4 or 5 or whatever. And we can put the pulse, we can define that in different ways. And that's a trick. If you want to be taken serious as a composer, you have to notate everything on, you know, twice as fast, because it you know, at a slower tempo, because it looks more complex on the page, and then, you know, it looks like you're more intellectual. But I just wanted to answer one thing of Francesco. The reason I said that it comes from the whole note is you can take a whole note and then you can take 4 times 1/4. So that's why we have 4/4 being lasting a whole note. But if you have a 5/5 bar, that would be like 5 1/5. So that's how we know that that's a quintuplet, and you can have a 6/6 bar or 12/12 or a 17/17 bar, right? And then to go, sorry, just one second, Dave. So then you could have a 5/5 bar, that would be 5 quintuplets, and a 5/10 bar would be 5 quintuplet eighth notes, and a 5/20 bar would be 5 quintuplet 16ths. Now, there's no reason to have that in our system, because you can just put a bracket over it and say 5, until you want to do unequal lengths. So like I want to have 3 quintuplet eighths, and then I want to move on to my 4/4 bar. You could do that by writing a 3/10 bar. And then,
or if you want to have this as a bit, if you want to have this as a pulse, if you want to have the subdivision, if I write 5/20, it means that I want the 16 to be the pulse. So I want a bar. It could be also very slow. I mean, I could do 5/20, 16/40 BPM, and I have a very. I mean,
could be, although just if you do a meter with a 16, you know, we could also have like a 7/16 bar where the pulse is 2/2/3, right? Or, you know, so just because you put 16 doesn't mean that the pulse, that it gives the pulse. It just gives a sort of grouping definition, and then the music can go. The music can also do something that goes outside of that. There's a lot of flexibility in the system through which you can go against the reason for every tool. And I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, so there's always exceptions anyway. Who wanted to say something, Dave or Per Anders?
So just a quick question about this irrational thing. So you would you, under this system, if you had like gospel 12/8, you would write that as 12/12?
Well, you could. It would be the same thing, but there's no reason to do it, because we can do 12/8 in our system. The only reason you would do it is if you were going from like 12/8 to 12/12.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you would have a switching speed.
Notation within would look the same, wouldn't it, as 12/8, I suppose?
Yeah, it would look exactly the same. And it could be convenient in some situations where you're changing tuplets. But, you know, we have the bracket sits notation to change tuplets, so that works really well. So there aren't a whole lot of reasons to do this. So when I was looking at when I was trying to notate this, I thought, oh, let's just see what would happen if I did this you know, this as a, what would this be? A 55-20 bar. And of course I could do it, and this would be a 66 24 bar, right? Because there we have 4 beats of 6 tuplets would be 24. So your basic, these are 24th notes, you could call them. And then you, if you did that, you could then take away the sextuplet. And then I thought, okay, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beats here. And then I can go into, well, the first 4 beats, this could be a 25-20 bar, these 4 beats, right? So I started thinking about that, and, you know, or you could continue it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 7 beats in quintuplets. So that could be 35-20. This would be a 35-20 bar to here. And then I thought, okay, that could be nice, because then what I'll do is you take away the brackets. But the thing, and then I could notate it in groups of 4 like this or whatever. And but then what happens is I would lose to know where the beats fall. So then I realized, no, it's actually much better to just write a quintuplet bracket on top of it, show me where the beats fall, and then I can play this. Same thing with the sextuplets. So there was no real reason for me, there was no improvement to put it in an irrational time signature. Does everybody follow that, Dave?
Yeah, I was just thinking that maybe one other use for the irrational thing would be when you're doing the nested tuplets, like we did in like last week.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to put triplets of quintuplets, of quintuplet quarter notes, you could write a bar of 4/5 and put triplets, triplet quavers, triplet 6/8
Right.
notes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it's technically correct. Whether or not it makes it easier to play, because sometimes notating it in regular 16th notes shows you where the beats fall, and then you can create your frame. But yeah, I honestly think there is some really great music possible with this system, but we don't explore it because it's notationally really complicated to do. Flavio.
Yes. So I have the impression that that the thing that irrational meters could work. I mean, if we have 35 16th, actually it's much easier to say there are quintuplets and you should divide in bits. So for example, also the example before, when we have a 12-8, I mean, of course we could say 12-12, but it doesn't make easier. I think this could be useful if, for example, first of all, if we want to feel the 12th as a pulse. So this makes sense. If the 12th is the pulse and I can subdivide, then it's convenient. For example, for a time change where I really change the speed of the music. Or for example, if I want to have 11, 12, then this makes sense because I don't have the whole 4/4 thing. But when
Exactly.
the numbers are like getting the whole bits, it just gets too complicated without any like useful.
Right. So if you wanted to go from a 12 to 1 second BC, if you want to go from a 12-12 to an 11, like I say 4/4 to a 11-12 bar, there are 2 ways to do it. Is to, okay, write 11-12, and then you know you're going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, right? So I did triplets, 11 triplets, and then I went back to a 4/4. The other way to do that would be to go from a 4/4 to an 11-8 bar with a tempo change. And then you say tempo goes from 60 to 80 or whatever it would be. So that's the other possibility. So we have multiple ways to do this. So then you really have to know what and why in order to use this irrational meters. But I think there are some possibilities. It's one of the things on my list is to compose a piano etude which uses irrational meters in a way that you have to notate it that way. So okay, BC.
Okay, I have, well, if this is an interesting topic to discuss, then I have a lot of questions. Shall I go for it? I mean, like questions, observations, and the way I understand it.
Please.
For example, what you were talking about, like the last thing that you told about, like that it's you treat it as 60 tempo, 80 tempo. Is it something that Stockhausen was using as a method? Like if we had to write from 16ths to quintuplets, probably he would just do in different tempo.
Well, he used both techniques. He did a lot of very specific tempo relationships in his pieces, and he also used a lot of tuplets. So there are all kinds of tools of speed, and you kind of choose which one fits this situation.
Stockhausen was doing this a lot. Because of this, you have also lots of Stockhausen tempo changes, which are, for example, from 60 BPM to 75,3, for example. This actually doesn't make sense, but it's just like this because he wants a rhythm proportion.
Actually, it makes a lot of sense. It's just practically doesn't mean much for us.
So you need to understand which rhythmical proportion you wanted. Otherwise, you just metronome. But I mean, it's difficult. It's clear rhythm, but not very practical. Really.
Probably he was thinking maybe it's in this tuplet change, but when you do this tuplet change, naturally you speed up a little bit. That's why he added that 0.3 extra.
But sometimes you have the point. Mathematical the German way, the most possible. So you also fall on periodic commas, like 72.
Okay, my next thing is, the way I understand all these things is like everything is in relationship to the 16th that's going under for me, right? So if there are 3 notes fitting in 2 notes of 16, so everything is like ta 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 ta. So in how many 16ths are these number of notes fitting? In how many 16ths is the relationship for what I do? For example, you geniuses, please tell me how you notate this phrase. Okay, I'll show it in pure like quarter notes, and then I'll show it to you in 7/8 cycle. Okay, so this is the phrase. Taka dimbe tata kita taka dinna takita takita taka dimbe tata kita taka dinna takita takita taka dimbe tata kita taka dinna takita takita taka dimbe tata kita taka dinna takita taka dim tata kita taka dinna takita takita taka dimbe tata kita taka dinna takita takita taka dimbe tata kita taka dinna takita taka dimbe tata kita taka dinna takita takita ta. How would you notate that?
So that's like it's like 16th notes to quintuplets to sextuplets.
It's 4 16th notes, and then 8 against 6 16th notes, and 6 against 4 16th notes.
8 against 6. So that's a 4 against 3. And then what was the third step?
It's a sextuplet.
So you go from 16th notes to a 4 against 3 to sextuplets.
8 against 6, if I'm thinking in 16th, everything. So the frame is taka dimmi takita takita taka dimmi taka dim takita takita taka dim taka dimmi taka jondo takita takita taka dimmi taka jondo takita takita taka, like that.
So the frame was this 4 3 3 4. Did I hear that right?
Yes. Yeah. 4 3 3 2 2. If you want even further.
4. Okay, so 4 3 3 2 2, and then you did 4 against 3, 4 against 3, and then 3 against 2, 3 against 2.
That's what I did. Yeah.
Taka dimmi taka dimmi taka dimmi taka takata takata taka dimmi. I get it. Taka dimmi taka dimmi taka dimmi takata takata taka dimmi taka dimmi taka dimmi takata takata taka. Okay. Does everyone understand that? Did everyone get that?
I didn't get it. I need to write it.
Shall we put it in the chat? Can you put it in the chat?
Did you want to do something else, Ned? Sorry, I'm pulling this.
Well, it's a really good question. Maybe, normally we were supposed to be teaching this day, and now we're having a kind of discussion of advanced rhythmic topics. And
it's sort of the same thing that came up last week, but how do you actually notate the nested tuplets problem? I don't know how you do that, but yeah.
If I may say something,
please.
I think it depends for me a lot, and where is the pulse? For example, BC, you were clapping. So the thing is, if you want to play this phrase on this bit, like on what you were clapping, I would write like the irregular figures, like 16th and whatever, in relation to what you clap. Because if you write in another way, I mean, you lose this bit that you were keeping. The bit like becomes something else. So I think that, in my opinion, what changes a lot the music is whatever you are doing, in which relation you put to a bit that you want to fill. Because whatever, it has some different ways to be written, and it changes also where you are, where you are kind of taking your steps. So if you were doing this bit like you were clapping, I would keep it like the irregular figures. I wouldn't like a switch because you were not changing with your hand.
Yes, that's right. That's why I'm very curious about, because for me, everything is in the relationship of 16th notes that's underneath. So everything is placed on those number of 16th notes, because I exactly understand where these 16th notes frames are falling.
Right. Okay, now check this out, Manju. So you have your frame. Taka dimi, taka dimi, taka dimi, taka ta taka ta taka dimi, taka ta taka dimi, taka ta taka ta taka. So what if you did, instead of 3 against 2 16ths at the end, you did 3 against 2 quintuplets? Taka dimi, taka dimi, taka dimi, taka dimi, taka ta taka ta taka ta taka ta, and then you start it over. So then you start shifting the whole grid by 1 quintuplet. So that's so complicated. You would never do that in
Can you
Carnatic.
show it to me again, please?
Well, I mean, it would be taka dimi, taka
Well,
dimi, taka
is
dimi,
Ned's
taka,
signal being broken for everyone or just me?
No, yeah, it's
A little bit, yeah.
Same thing here. Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
it's the school.
So
my
your
school network.
rhythm is dragged more than you're dragging that moment.
So I should
So
just
it's
do it
very
normal,
hard.
and then it'll come out correct. Well, what I'm saying is that if you just took instead of 3 against 2 16th notes, you would do 3 against 2 quintuplets. Then all of a sudden you would have the last 2 groups would last 4 quintuplets, and then you would have 1 quintuplet left over, and then the whole thing would shift to quintuplet, and you would go into a different grid. This is what the irrational meters could notate properly.
Okay, you mean to say if there are 5 portions in a beat, so the last portion is not there, on these 2 portions I'm putting 3 and 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This doesn't exist in Carnatic music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Already the one which I did is too much because this kind of like tempo or like tuplet or whatever you call, because I don't even know what is the second part. It's not even a tuplet. Do you call 4 against 3 as a tuplet? No.
Yes, of course.
Is it a tuplet?
Yeah.
So is tuplet not related to how many you have?
There are 2 types of tuplets. You have a tuplet that fills up 1 beat, like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, gati. And then you have tuplets which are either longer than a beat or shorter than a beat. Like 4 against 3 is a tuplet that lasts less than 1 beat, and 4 against 5 is a tuplet that lasts longer than 1 beat.
So you're talking still in the relationship of 3 16th notes, 5 16th notes.
Yes, exactly. So then you come to the definition of tuplet be any given number of subdivisions over a specific duration of time. And that can be 1 beat, can be 3/4 of a beat, it can be a beat and a half, whatever. It can be 3 beats, 5 against 3. Those are all tuplets.
Okay, I rest my case.
This is the definition which I propose. So, oh, sorry, my internet is breaking up. You know what? Let's stop this for now.
Type of.
Oh, Dave?
I was just going to say that second type of tuplet that you were talking about would involve you writing a bracket and writing 2 numbers with a colon.
Exactly. So I like to call those ratio tuplets, and the other ones are just traditional tuplets.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'm working on my PhD thesis, which is I just made this whole argument about this, so I'm thinking a lot about this. But I want to let this stop for now. Eduardo, did you have your transcription of BC's korvai?
I sent it to you.
Did you send a new one?
No.
Okay. Should
Do
we
you
take a
have
look
it?
at? Yeah,
Yes.
I would like
Yes,
to take a
please.
look at this.
Sorry, I forget the change of the time. I am 1 hour later.
Okay. My suggestion is that we take a look at this, and we take a small break, and then we'll come back and go on with some new material. Is that okay?
Okay.
This one, right?
Yes.
So, okay, the beginning is fine. Okay, so, oh, this is the version, I made some comments on it.
Yes. No problem. No problem.
Okay. You want to take a look at this, BC?
He's muted.
Are you there, BC?
Oh yeah. I'm muted. Sorry. Can you please go up? Sorry. I was no. Down. Sorry. I already checked that. Okay. The khanda quintuplets, there are question marks. I think there's an error. The second D should fall before the beat. Tata di ti ki na. That one.
This one.
That should fall before the beat.
Okay.
And then the second gi should fall before the beat. Tata di ti ki. See, there is a dot after tata, which should not be there. I think we have to rework on that. Maybe we can do it privately. Eduardo?
Yeah. Could you repeat, please?
The red one, of course.
Yes.
Probably you wrote the red one because you thought there is something wrong with it. Yes, there is something wrong with it.
Okay.
Again, the red one, the next one, again, there is something wrong with it. So we can discuss that in private, unless other people are interested in knowing about what is wrong with this. And also the one which is after the sextuplet, the last 3 lines also has some problem.
Okay.
So we
Thank
can
you.
talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't we take a small break, and then BC, you wanted to show us something new, so we could do that after the break. Is that okay?
Sure. 10 minutes, please.
Yes.
Okay. Let me.
Okay.
Yeah.
See you guys in 10 minutes.